Okay, we'll just get back to this then. All right, so the screen is being shared. Can you see it says Ultimate Business Partners has spent hundreds of hours? Can you guys see that?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So as I'm talking, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to just, chime in, speak up. I do prefer interactive stuff, rather than one person talking. Um, so I'll just give you kind of like, behind the scenes what's been happening, because like the group that Andy, Aaron, and Rob have been, they started out as like, so I'm a business coach for realtors and lenders. I have been since early 2000s. I've been working with these three for a while. So they started out as clients and they've turned into just great friends. So this opportunity is gonna be, it's a little bit more of a casual than a formal presentation today, because I support these guys so hard, and I love everything they do. So this would seem to be a natural fit. Over the last year, we've spent hundreds of hours designing what's turning out to be a referral magnet, just a big time referral opportunity that generates listings and it generates buyers. And we did this part. Really, the way it started was there was this is a research paper here from Virginia Tech University. I came across it last year, and it was an interesting survey that these two professors did to 3,500 employees, and they surveyed them and said, hey, what outside of retirement benefits, what do you want from your employer? And overwhelmingly, in fact, 87% of the respondents said that if the employer provided a financial education, that they would participate. So then these guys went ahead and surveyed the employers, and they said, hey, do you offer financial education? And only 21% said they did. So 87% want it, and 21% of employers offer it. And I just thought that was totally interesting, because from a real estate and lending perspective, our clients come to us initially because they want to buy or sell a home. But what we find is you position yourself with all this expertise and knowledge, so they start coming to you for everything. They want to know about things that aren't necessarily related to real estate. They'll say, oh, Andy will know this. Like, what's the, you guys have gotten calls and questions from your past clients because they look at you as a trusted advisor. So it started to make sense to me, like, gosh, our clients really do look for us for like a holistic kind of thing. So I just spent off and on time for a couple months researching, like, is this need still real? So it turns out it hasn't changed over the last 26 years. You can just spend 5 minutes on Google and say, hey, what's the benefit of financial education for employees? And what's the benefit of an employer offering financial education? The need is huge, and that need is turning out to be an opportunity for the people on this call. So this is a copy of an actual forum that the U.S. government had. So they invited in a bunch of private agencies, private companies, and a bunch of public agencies, and talked about financial literacy and the role of the workplace. And after 2.5 days, they concluded that the employer is definitely positioned to be the best source for financial education, more so than social media, more so than like influencers, more so than like the neighbor down the street. So it's a big time opportunity. So here's the takeaways. So again, this was from 1988. And so you fast forward to 2024, the need hasn't changed. Today, less than 21% of employers offer non-retirement benefits. 87% of employees want financial education. So this program is designed to fill that gap. There's a bunch of studies that show that employers are losing money by not providing this benefit. And the way they're losing money is through productivity. And this is kind of like a sneaky expense, because you guys are all business owners. And so you're familiar with like a profit and loss statement. Like you look at your income and then you see what your expenses are, and then there's money left over. Well, this lost productivity is sneaky because it's not like a line item that's listed on the P&L. It's it's employees showing up late for work. It's employees needing to leave early for work. It's employees managing their finances during work. It's employees asking for raises during non-scheduled raise times. It's all these things. So there's been numerous studies on how much that costs American businesses, and it's upwards of $200 billion per year in lost productivity. So there's a big upside for employers to provide financial education to their employees to kind of start plugging this hole. I made so quick side note from this article in Forbes, they had a screenshot of a lost productivity calculator. So I just basically reverse engineered what it is and made a Google sheet out of it that I'll send to you guys. But basically what it says is 43% of employees are impacted by financial strain. And it shows up on average 4 hours per week at work. So when you're talking to an employer, this one form is relatively new when we're talking to employers explaining the upside of offering this, and they see the actual dollars that they could be saving, stop losing based on how many employees they have and how many employees are impacted. The light bulb goes off, because what we're finding is a lot of employers, they really do care about the well-being of their employees and the well-being of their bottom line. And so this is like a light bulb for them. So I'll give you the link to this calculator so you guys can mess with it. But this is a very real thing that employers they relate to. Like mental wellness and financial wellness have this they're kind of overlapped. There's a lot of overlapping things, and it's very much on the minds of employers as well as employees. So this is like something that can help, address that. It's called the HOME program. HOME is an acronym for Home Ownership Made Easy. And it's literally a financial wellness benefit that delivers financial education to employees. It's free. It's free to the employer. Benefits are super expensive. We're offering this to any employer that wants to help lift productivity and increase financial literacy with their employees. They get it for free. Doesn't matter if there's 3 employees in the company or 1,500. It's a free benefit. That right there is pretty special, because there's actual businesses that exist that this is their thing. They charge $7-8 per employee or $100,000 per year, just to start. We've got literally the same thing that's rolled out, and it doesn't cost the employer any money. So here's some metrics I wanted to share with you from Sacramento. Like I mentioned, I'm from Sacramento. So in 2023, I spent the year like building this thing out. We officially launched it on January 26, 2024. And the way we launched it was very similar to this, except it was an in-person meeting. So here in Sacramento, did a presentation to a bunch of realtors and a bunch of lenders. And we just kind of, the concept was not as clear as it was today. So we rolled it out, and as of June 1st, we've got 12 businesses enrolled. There's 189 employees using the portal. So that means they've opted in, and they're learning, they're watching things. There's been 14 leads generated, and I've broken those down. There's been 5 listings. So 3 are live on the market right now. 1 is closed. 1, the realtor didn't win it. She lost it to the competition. There's 9 buyers. 2 of those have closed. They closed in May. 2 are closing in June. 2 are approved and looking, and then 3 are just, for a variety of reasons, they're not ready. They have a plan, but they're not ready to execute right now. So what I'm looking at, just from this program's new, what I'm looking at is 14 leads out of 189 engaged employees. That's about a 7.4%, kind of, I guess you can call it an ROI. And my expectation is that should stay the same, maybe even get better, because we've made onboarding, we've made tons of improvements on onboarding and the conversations with onboarding. We kind of stubbed our toe a few times in the very beginning, thinking onboarding would be super easy. And it is easy, but there's little things that we've enhanced to make it even better. So I'm going to take a quick breath right here. Does anybody have any questions so far? Okay. So that's what we have so far this year. Based on these numbers, I can kind of like give you an estimate on what it would take to like hit a certain goal. So we're seeing about a 61% enrollment rate, which is not quite the 87% that said they'd want it in all those other surveys. And I do think it's because our onboarding process was not good. The employers weren't rolling it out like they should have, which I think we fixed that. But that being said, we're 61%. So if you onboard a company with 100 employees, we're expecting maybe 61 to enroll. We're also seeing it takes, 3 to 4 weeks for an employer to like get it together enough to roll it out, So to hit a goal of say 2 closings a month, which is 24 a year, these are like the little math equations that you'd use. So 24 a year, that means you'd need about 600 total employees like targeted, which 600 in the program means you'd have to invite about 980. So if say you have one company that and there's 1,000 people, well, we pretty much know that it's a safe bet that you'd get a couple closings per month. Or if you have, 3 companies that equal 1,000, however you get to this number. So this is the total number of employees you'd be inviting. This is the total number that would probably take you up on the opportunity. And then that drills down to the expected closings. And again, this is just from our first 6 months of rolling this out. So that's how that works. And then I also can share with you the work behind the scenes because, this is kind of a sale in that, yes, you're working your sphere, you're working your, you're doing the same things you're doing now, but it's a little bit of a different talk track. So this might not be added time to your work week, but this is time that I know the realtors and the lenders that are doing this is about what their work week looks like. They're spending a couple hours per week on the phone with their SOI, just already in general. Some of them have call plans. Some of them call their database 4 times a year. Some of them have a VIP list. Like whatever those calls are, they're averaging a couple hours a week. And the talk track has just changed like, hey, by the way, where you work, does your company offer financial education? We'll say, well, what's that? Well, it's just where you can learn about taxes. You can learn about wills and trusts, home ownership, insurance, credit, budgeting, things like that. They'll probably say no because only 21% of employers offer it. And then it's real easy. Hey, who is in HR? Who makes those kind of decisions? Because we have this free benefit that you guys might like. And that's literally how it starts. So it's an easy conversation and it's not a sale to the employer because there's no money. And everybody knows benefits are super expensive. So when you roll in with this kind of value and it's a benefit and it doesn't cost any money, you usually get the like, wow, where have you been? So if you're averaging about 3 to 4 hours per week, which you probably are, doing what most realtors do, which is working your sphere and like posting on social media, you probably already have the fuel like sitting right under your nose to get introduced to employers. You probably have friends, past clients, family members that work at these employers, or that they might know somebody that works in an employer that might need this. The other thing that I know that's working really well is the realtor and the loan officer, they kind of team up to do this together. And there's some sort of ongoing communication where they establish kind of goals for themselves. Could be once a month, every other week, where they sit down and game plan on how they're going to approach different employers together. So that's what it looks like for these people that are getting leads. So the offering that you're giving an employer is it's a holistic financial education portal. Now these topics they're very strategic because like in 2023, when I was like kind of figuring all this out, every single thing I was reading, I started to notice like employees wanted the same thing, the same thing, the same thing. So I took the best topics, the most common topics that employees wanted to know about, and we created short bite-sized videos that are in the portal. So these are what's in there. Like it everybody surveyed wants to know about credit, consumer protection laws, how to get out of debt, how to save for college, how to improve my FICO score. Another very popular topic is estate planning and financial planning. Real estate, home ownership, big time need for budgeting. So right now the portal has all these things done. And what's cool about it is I'm not an estate planning attorney. I'm not a financial advisor, but I know them. So I called them up and I said, hey, Angela Thompson she's my trust attorney. I said, hey, Angela, here's this idea. Could I get you on a Zoom call and can I ask you questions about estate planning? You answer them and then I make little videos out of it and put it in this portal. And she's like, that's amazing. Let's do it. Every one of my, financial people in my life and people I know, when I asked them to do this, every single one of them said, let's do it. So I just curated some content and put it in this portal. So it's like literally the expert answering really cool questions. And these are all plug and play. So so like, if you guys want to do this, I'll help you recreate your own custom portal. So you can like pull me out and put yourself in with your estate planning attorney, with your credit repair person. That way you're featured throughout these videos and you are the go-to person whenever one of these employees has a question. And it's totally customizable. You can add whatever topics you want. Like, you guys are all good at creating content. We've got realtors that are recording videos in Spanish, for example. In fact, it's almost ready. We've got like nine little videos from this one lady who's done Spanish videos. She's also added information on local markets, because like here in Sacramento, there's different little suburbs that have all their different little, nuances. She wanted to put that in. Perfect. It's your portal. I'll help you customize it. We've got this other gentleman who's adding in things for teens and young adults, because he knows that, like, he was a teacher and now he's a big time realtor, and he knows there's like a need for all that. So it's truly what you want, whatever your vision is, to offer this really cool thing that lifts the financial education to employees, and it definitely helps employers with their productivity.
Hey, Dino, out of curiosity, not to cut you off, but
Sure.
do you have the stats on like what are the most watched videos?
Yeah.
Board?
Yeah. So far the most watched videos definitely are credit. I'd say, so there's like 9 videos on credit. How to get out of debt is probably the most watched one in the credit chapter. How to get out of debt, how to improve.
And that would be financial advisor or financial planner video.
So that it could be right. It could be there. I know the financial advisor talks about it, but the credit expert also talks about techniques for getting out of debt.
Yeah.
Consumer protection laws are also, like, I'd say credit in general is the most watched, followed by insurance. And like insurance and buying a house are like kind of neck and neck, close in there. Estate planning is probably in the 3rd spot.
And I would think like the demographic of the employees probably have a lot to do with it. So, some company that, their average demographic is like a 25-year-old is going to be different than another company whose, average is, 45, right? What's cool about this too is you can do specific videos that are targeting that certain employee base. So like one that I know that we're going to be working on is like teachers, right?
Mm-hmm.
There could be such specific videos that really kind of only apply to maybe teachers and like maybe some benefits that they have that other people don't have or whatever it is, right? Yeah.
Brandon, I'm going to, sorry, Brandon, Andy, I'm going to jump in. As a financial advisor, I would say I'm not surprised that those are the most important topics because that's what I get a lot is questions about credit, how to get out of it. I deal with that a lot. Insurances, definitely what I do. But I think that I think having all of these options available and maybe is important because teachers are married to doctors. And they're, so I think that we don't want to exclude any content and also age. I have clients that are 25 that have incredible saving habits and incredible debt habits. And then I have clients that are in their 50s and 60s who are the same, right? Incredible debt habits and incredible saving habits. So it's just, it's really interesting. I always tell my clients that it doesn't matter if you make $400,000 a year or $40,000 a year, your relationship with money is actually the most important piece. So, yeah.
And too, I'm thinking too, if the employee base, what they're earning. So like, let's say the average employee at this company makes 10 grand a month and they're, 120,000 and they have a spouse possibly. Well, you can, like if, I was thinking on the real estate side, maybe that could be, there could be more information about how to buy an investment property, how to buy your first Airbnb, like kind of the fun stuff that could be applicable to that employee base. Whereas another employee base, may or may not, but you can still include it, but just making it as customizable as you can. And talking about, the topics that people really are interested in, whether it's a possibility for them or not to be realistic and pull a trigger on something like that, but at least get them interested so that they can learn how to eventually.
Yeah, it's an excellent point. One of our chapters is downsizing and right sizing, which is basically, people that might need to, they're empty nesters and stuff like that. They need to downsize and they just don't know where to start. Then there is another chapter about buying your first rental. And so we've interviewed in that chapter, we've interviewed a property manager and a 1031 exchange person. And so they've got little bite-sized videos in there just to kind of shine the light on the good, the bad, and the ugly. But again, the realtor and the lender are kind of like spearheading this. And so it just seemed like such a natural fit because you guys are called all the time for all sorts of things because you're viewed as the consultant, much like the financial advisor. So positioning yourself in this is in offering this like in a like some sort of evergreen method where now you're like your skill and your talents and your network are being shared with hundreds, maybe thousands of local employees, could start generating some serious referrals. But yes, to all your points, it's definitely customizable. Quick side note on the teachers thing. We have a school district enrolled. Actually, not a school district. We have a school enrolled. And what I found out was the principal, at least here in Sacramento, the principal is given authority to roll something out like this out because it's not curriculum for students. So you don't need to go in front of a board or get all these approvals. If the principal likes it, they can roll it out to their teachers. So we have it here. I live in Roseville, so we have it at Roseville Unified School District, and there's a bunch of teachers enrolled. And so they like the feedback we're getting from them is cool. One other thing in the portal, we did put in at the end of every chapter, we put in a survey so they could give us some feedback. So far, the feedback's been awesome. And then we take that feedback and give it back to the employer. So they're seeing things that are like, oh, wow, cool. This is great. And it's not costing me a penny. We also implemented quizzes. So you can turn quizzes on or off if you want. Most of our people have quizzes on. So then at the end of a chapter, they can answer 3 questions and like, get a little summary if they got it right and stuff. It just, again, more engagement, more engagement. But that's the concept of the offering, and it is very strategic. These are the hot buttons from all the surveys. You can customize it. We've been tweaking, like, okay, so how do we talk to people about this? Because again, we're really good on the real estate side, but this is just a little bit different. So we've created, I've got the email templates that we use for approaching employees as well as employers. We've got calling scripts that we are using. Some people are really into texting, like so much. So I've made like a bunch of texting, like intros for employers and employees. I've made an explainer video. I put all this in like a little membership portal for like you guys. So you have like a resource you can look to. And then every other week we do what's called a home huddle. So every other Friday, pull everybody into a quick meeting and we just talk about how's it going, what objections are you running into, what wins do you have, what ideas are you using? Like, just, it's a really cool collaboration from different people using the platform, sharing wins and sharing like ways to just keep it moving forward. For the first, I want this to be a success for these guys. I mean, it's not hard to talk to an employer about this, and it's not hard to onboard. I would make myself available to help with, like, if you have an employer you want to talk to, I'd make myself available to either, help you do it, be in the background to answer questions, or just help you drive it. I think once you see it done once or twice, you'll be like, okay, I get it. Like, it's really not, it's not like, it's not like, competing for a listing per se. You're explaining the upside of this free program. Some employers get it, some don't. And the majority of them get it, and the majority of them don't offer this. So I'd make myself available to help you guys with all that. Behind the scenes, what happens is we set up a portal for your employer. So let's say Andy says, hey, Dino, the Nashville Unified School District, I'm meeting with them Friday. Cool. So each portal is branded to the employer with their own URL. The URL is specific to their name. So we put the employer logo on there, the employer logo, the colors, and all that. And then Andy would have that. And Andy would also have like a quick presentation that we would put together. And then he would just go and show what it is. And he'd have a live portal for the school district to look at, or for whatever that employer is. He'd say, hey, here's what it looks like. Here's the actual site. And you can show him as much of it as he wants or as little of it as he wants.
Yeah. Do you have an example one?
An example portal? Yeah, sure. I should have had that pulled up. Hold on one second, and I'll show you.
And then I think
there's
Sonny might have a question too. Looks like he raised his hand. I don't know if that was on purpose or not.
While I'm pulling that up, go for it.
Do you ever have companies that sign up for it and then don't like it for whatever reason and terminate their use of it? Or
no, we haven't had that. In fact, we've had the opposite. So I'll tell you, the first couple employees, the very first one we onboarded was the West Sacramento Police Department. And we went in there, and the captain was like, we've had a wellness initiative for a long time that we've just not had the budget to do. This is perfect. And I just, when I heard those words, I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. And I said, cool, let's roll it out. He said, yes, let's roll it out. And then I made no plan. I didn't understand how they communicated. And I left it with him to roll out, and it just, nothing was happening. And so I followed up with him. I'm like, hey, have you rolled it out? And he said, yeah. I'm like, well, how? Because there's literally nobody in the portal. And so he's like, hey, come back to the office or whatever, because I I want this rolled out. I need to know like the best ways to do this. And so I got the impression that I let him down a little bit because we should have had a better plan in place. Because he was expecting his people to be like all over it. And so that's the only we've had a couple like that where the onboarding was just not great. It's since changed, but we've had nobody like say,
Do you
hey, I
just
want
do lunch and learns, I guess?
100%. So part of the onboarding is we walk them through a bunch of questions, and then we both sign this little like, yes, let's do it. There's no contract with these guys. They can bounce anytime they want. If they say, hey, whatever, like,
This
no
free
problem.
service really is annoying me. Let's cancel. You know, like it's just not.
They just wouldn't
It's a
use
free
it.
thing, and it's just a benefit. So it's like, why would they cancel?
Yes. It's here, hold on. All right. I have a portal up. I just wanted to. Yeah, so no, we haven't had anybody do that. Let me just get back to Teams and reshare. And in the deck, I have a link to a sample portal that you guys will be able to enroll in and take a peek at. Share. Okay, so this is Mattress Express. Can you guys see this?
Yep.
All right. So Mattress Express. So this is Jeff. He's actually a realtor here in Pismo Beach, and this is Travis. So this is the employee's view. So you can see here's Mattress Express. It's a demo. I'm previewing as an enrolled student. So we always have the business. We always ask the business owner to do the welcome video. Some. I'm super surprised. Some of them are like big time CEO business owners, but they're like, you put them in front of a camera and they like go, no way. I don't want to do all that. So we always ask. I'd say half the time they'll do a welcome video. So ideally there's a welcome video from the owner or for somebody in HR expressing like, hey, we care about you. We're one of the few employers that offer this as a benefit. You know, a lot of people's goals are around money, and this is our way of like helping you be the best possible version you can, and we hope you get value out of it. Super simple. Mattress Express guy didn't want to do it. So typically it's the welcome video from the CEO, and then it's the welcome video from the realtor and the lender. Like, here's who we are. If you have any questions about any of the content, here's our information. Call us up. And then, you can see the text down here. They're introducing it. So that's pretty cool. And then you can see over here, here's all the contents, and people can just zip around, go from wherever they want. They can start at welcome. They can dive down to meet the experts. But what we've done is the welcome. Smart Money Habits is basically all the budgeting stuff, how to track and save money, book recommendations, little quiz, understanding credit. So this is the credit expert we interviewed. What is credit? What's FICO score? How to get out of debt? Tips from an expert. Consumer protection laws. The portal is designed to be, you can share a video, you can share just text, you can share a download. Like, this is a downloadable thing. Like, here's what a download from the credit company about FICO scores. So people just click download and boom, they have it. This section is very popular too. This is Meet the Experts. So this is where we interviewed like the specific experts. So like, estate planning, meet the estate planning attorney. These are all the topics she covers.
You click on one of those so we can see what it looks like?
Sure.
Video just starts.
Can you guys hear that?
Yeah.
Can you hear the little? Okay, cool.
Cool.
But this is
Sure. So estate planning is the proactive process of setting up some key documents just to ensure that when you pass away, your assets and your loved ones are treated in the way that you want them to be. Um, Everyone, whether they know it or not, has an estate plan in place. If you haven't created one proactively, then the government has created one for you. And that is what is called intestate succession. So if you pass away with nothing created on your own, then the legislature has a statutory scheme that governs what happens to everything that you own. And also, if you have minor children, how they will be, how the guardians can be appointed for them. And all of that will be subject to the state's normal procedures. Obviously, that is not a one size fits all. It really isn't.
So you can see like every little video is 2 minutes, 4 minutes, 6 minutes, 2 minutes of Angela. So for each Meet the Experts, this is why this is such a cool holistic thing, because one of the employers, I remember it was a solar company. And when the realtor and the lender had a hard time scheduling the appointment because the solar guy was like, look, man, you're like a lender. We see, you're just trying to make a play for loans here. And it was just because they didn't do the proper job explaining the holistic approach to this. There's definitely real estate stuff in here, but what you can see is like most of it is budgeting, credit, taxes, estate planning, like all these topics. Home ownership is in there. It's a section, but it's maybe a quarter of everything that's in here. Do you know what I mean? So once the solar person understood that, and then you got to look at what's in here, he's like, oh, okay, I get it. And that's actually one of our, like that account, that employer's actually got like several, we got a listing out of that and a buyer out of that company so far. And there's only 41 employees in that company. So
how do you, where's the, if you don't mind me asking, where's the call to action or things like that? How do they connect with you? Or do they just reach out from the video, seeing your face and contact info?
Yeah. At the bottom of the videos, what we'll do is we'll put in your phone number, your email, up at the top. What it is you're branded up at the top. So the call to action is you being present and having your information in there. The other call to action is what we started to do. It's actually not in this one, but what we started to do is bookend the chapters. So the realtor and the lender will introduce each chapter. So basically it's like, hey, you're about to see a bunch of information on credit. If you have any questions on anything that's discussed here, make sure you reach out to us, because if we don't know the answer, we'll point you in the right direction. Or that could be at the beginning or at the end. It could be like, hey, congrats, you just finished the chapter on credit. You know more about credit than the average person. If you have any questions about anything, please reach out to me because I can help you or point you in the right direction. So those are the ways. And then on top of that, part of that's a really good question, because we missed this the first few months. Part of the onboarding process, what we do is we calendar out quarterly either office meetings, office visits, lunch and learns. Can we be the first 10 minutes of your company meeting? Like, so we schedule out those quarterly. So and those are just now starting to kick in, because again, we've only been doing this like 6 months. So we're coming up on, we've done a bunch of these first quarter check-ins, and those are very valuable, because now you're staying top of mind, and the employer likes that because they're bringing value. We did one last week where we brought in Angela to one of the employers as like a 15-minute, like, hey, here's who we are. We're sponsoring this program for you. And by the way, here's Angela to talk about estate planning. And she's very well spoken and super approachable and nice, talking about all these rough topics that she talks about. She's just solid. So, but that's how the call to action works so far.
It kind of seems like the high value is just being, air quotes, the guy that wrote the book on it, the one that's giving out all the info.
That's
just creates a sense of authority.
Yeah.
Yeah, and,
Well,
and Dino, you described last time we talked about this, how like sometimes the employers will say like, hey, like what's in it for you? Like, why are you guys doing this if you're just going to offer this for free? And you
mhm.
had a really good explanation to that because it is a
That's
free
it.
service.
Yeah.
And it's a major benefit to their employees.
Yeah. Yes, that comes up almost all the time. Once they see the portal, they see the calculator, they see the value, and it's like free, it'll eventually dawn on them that it's like, well, hey, how are you doing this for free? And what I've just told them is like, look, we're betting on ourselves here. We're sponsoring this and we're betting on ourselves because we know how important financial education is because of what we do for a living. We talk to people all the time who want to buy or sell a house and they don't really have a plan ahead of time. And so, you've probably heard of somebody that's had a stressful process, and a lot of that could be mitigated by planning. So we want to offer this. And if somebody ever wants to do a real estate transaction, we'd love to be part of that conversation. It's not required, but we just want to put ourselves in that position to where if anybody ever wants to buy or sell, they would consider us. And that's how we're offering it for free. We're leading with value, and we know that everybody knows a realtor and everybody knows a lender, but we want to lead with so much value that they at least consider us as part of that conversation. And that also clicks with employers. It's a business. They get it. They get it. So good questions. We're almost there. I just have a couple more things to share and then we'll be done. Okay. So it's a holistic thing. My concept is, my company name is the Ultimate Business Partners. And the reason it's that is because I've always thought that the lender and the realtor have like the opportunity to have an awesome relationship by like being each other's partner, by literally being a partner, supporting each other, doing their best to refer each other, teeing each other up, and all that. And so my concept with this was, how can the lender and the realtor be partners together and make this happen? And so that's in my mind, I just see this team forming where, hey, we know some people that work at these companies. Let's go approach them and let's team up and do this. And that's how I see this being a very powerful thing. That's how it's working so far. So a big key to this is, if you have these financial professionals in your life already, like the CPA, the financial advisor, the trust attorney, and the credit expert. If you've got those four, I mean, that's probably 80% of everything you need. Everything else is kind of like your own flavor. But if you include those, and I've all the questions that I've asked these people that I can share with you, like, so you can make these videos and then we can put them in your portal and all that stuff, and we can have things just ready. And so that's kind of how it works. The other piece is there's real time and real effort that goes into this. So there is a fee, and I just want to be upfront on that with you. This is my program. I'm just kind of throwing this out here. It's $99 per month. I know it takes about 30 days to get up and running because there's videos you've got to make, there's content you've got to do. We work together a lot on creating your portal. So I know it takes 30 days, so you don't pay for the first 30 days. Some people really like this and say, I want to go for it. And if you want to go for it for like a year up front, I'll knock 25% off. But it's $99 a month. There's no contract. There's no onboarding fee. If you start this and you're 3 weeks into it and you just hate it, you can cancel it. If you're 6 months into it and you hate it, you can cancel it. There's absolutely no pressure. I do know though that if this was offered at no cost, like not a lot of people would put the time in, because it does take a little time. It's going to take a lot of your time, a lot of my time. $99 doesn't make anybody rich. It's just like a commitment that we're going to do this together. I do feel that people who are doing this are, I know for sure they're getting like, they're getting referrals. So that's that. This QR code takes you to the landing page for the membership portal, where if you're interested, you would just go ahead and scan that and then put in your payment information, and then we schedule an appointment. I think we schedule an appointment right away to deep dive into like next steps. The portal has like the first 4 weeks action plan. Like week 1, here's what you need to do. Week 2, here's what you need to do. Week 3, here's what you need to do. So again, it's about 3 to 4 hours a week of stuff. You're probably already doing it anyway. But that's the marketing budget for this program. And so one thing that's important to note is there's an incentive. One part of the onboarding that we've really gotten better at is having the employer create an incentive for people to participate, and then the lender and the realtor have an incentive for clients to use them. So here's what that looks like. We've gotten really good at asking the employer, like, is there anything you can do to incentivize your employees to do this program? And we just ask an open-ended question. Now, some, like the school district, they have no budget, no money. They're like, no, we can't. I mean, we can promote it, we can have you come in quarterly, all that stuff, but we can't like give any sort of incentive. The solar company, the other one I was mentioning earlier, the tough guy who almost shot us down, who now really likes it. Once he saw what it was, he said, I can give, if people pass these quizzes, if they watch all this stuff and pass these quizzes, I will have them do a review for a raise, which was really cool. The West Sacramento Police, the captain, they have a family friend that owns a coffee shop there. So everybody that finishes a chapter and they get their little, you get a certificate when you finish a chapter. What we've done is we've customized his certificate. So there's a little QR code, and the officers can take that QR code and get like, I think it's a free sandwich. They get a free sandwich if they, whatever. So wow. There's all sorts of creative ways that if you just pose the question, it's amazing what a $5 little gift card will do for an employee. They'll be like, yeah, I'll log in, because that's the key. Once they do it and they start seeing what's in there, they really spend some time in there. Now the other piece, because we know, again, everybody knows another realtor and another lender, and we want to just kind of like, we want to pry them away. So there's an incentive from the lender and the realtor, and it could be whatever the incentive is. It could be, it's like we've got a couple agents doing like a lender doing 1,000 and a realtor doing 1,000. So that'd be $2,000 that the buyer or seller can get at close of escrow, and it could offset closing costs. It could buy down the rate. That could be real money. It's real money that these people are getting from their employer, just for being part of this company. And again, whether they use you or not, it's not required. But if they do, and they have this incentive, what we're finding is it's like really just enough of a whatever the dollar amount is up to you guys. I'm just sharing. We've got one realtor that's doing 20% of her commission up to $2,000. We've got a bunch of them doing 1,000 each. I think the incentive does work. With the school district, interestingly, or with the school, with Roseville High School, interestingly, what the real lender did was they said, we'll do $1,000 each, and then on top of that, we'll donate $200 to the athletic program for everything that closes, because they're like, every school needs money. So the principal really liked that, because they didn't have any, again, they have no money. So they're just, support the school. If you use these guys, you save money on your stuff, but then they throw $200 into the athletic program. So there, you could be creative like that. And all these kind of ideas come out just because we're in here using this all the time. And on these home huddle calls every other Friday, we're just kind of collaborating and sharing ideas. So that's the program. What kind of questions do you guys have? It's okay if you don't have any questions, but I do. Mariah, are you still here? Mariah's a financial advisor, right?
Yeah, I am still here. Sorry, I was like on mute, and I was like, how do I unmute?
So Mariah, what's interesting is, I know we're coming close to the top of the hour, but what's interesting is we had a heck of a time finding a financial advisor to go on camera to offer like simple things like, what's a financial advisor do? What's the benefit of starting to save early? Like just very common things. So the compliance teams at a lot of these companies were like, no, you can't go on camera. You can't. Do you think that that's an obstacle from what you said, or like how would you be able to participate in this?
Yeah, I would need to run anything that I did or said through my compliance team, but I know I know what are the triggers and what are not. So like basically compliance is really tight. And which is why it's so important to get this information out there. But I have a pretty good relationship with the compliance team. I've been on podcasts. I've done other things like that.
Oh, perfect.
So it's definitely possible. Just most people don't like to take the time of having to jump through the hoops. So
we are like the financial advisor that I use. He got shot down. Like we literally scripted out word for word what he would say, and they're like, no. And so I was like, gosh, man. So it's just interesting because I wanted to bring that, just ask you just from a experience standpoint, like it just seems like there's stuff that could be extra steps for you in the videos and stuff. But nothing.
There is, but it's nothing that I think is, can't be done.
Yeah. I will say what's interesting is so far I also do know that the CPA in the videos has received 2 leads, and Angela, the estate planner, has received 2 leads. So the partners you bring in on this are also going to be benefiting, which is cool because now they're getting leads, and all of a sudden, there's reciprocity even more so happening. Especially if you're not getting a bunch of referrals back and forth from them, you're teeing them up to be in a great spot to win. And also, Angela, our estate planning attorney, has introduced us to one company that's in the program, and our CPA has introduced us to one company that's in the program. So there's a lot of ways that this can be integrated into your business without a ton of extra effort, with like a bunch of upside is what it is. Yeah.
Well, Dino, it's 11:01. Thank you so much for walking us through everything. I'm sure if anybody has any questions, I think we probably have time for 1 or 2 questions. If not, I would love to follow up with everybody, or Rob and Aaron will follow up and see what other questions that you guys have. But does anybody have like a last question they want to sneak in?
Do you have your other referral partner, say the financial advisor, lender, the title, any of those guys, do they help contribute to this fee?
Do they help contribute to the $99 fee? No, I've not asked them.
So as
so Reed, that's an I've actually never thought of that. That's an interesting thing because
also
I'm just saying, what if there's 1,000 people in there, you brought them all, is there real value to that estate planning attorney do they have a marketing? But I mean, you could make money on this thing.
Also, just another thought for you as you start your business, it may be better to have a higher price point at the beginning and then a lower residual fee that would help people stay on board longer. But you're gonna find what works best for you guys as you grow.
Yeah. Well, in all transparency, I've got 8 paying clients in this right now, and they're all paying like either $395 or $495 a month. Like I said in the beginning, like Andy, Rob, and Aaron have been like, they were willing to kind of like gather some people on here, and I'm like, well, I do know that there should be some sort of fee just to keep people connected, but I'm like, I don't care if like 1 or 10 sign up, we'll get it super low. I wanted it to be low enough to where somebody looks at this and goes, wow, shit, I'll try that for a few. I mean, it's a few $100, whatever. But in all transparency, there are other people that if you guys do join up, you'll meet them in the home huddle type of thing. But they're just paying more. So anyway,
so we get the Nashville.
Well, you get that, like I said,
discount.
you guys put all this together. I just get to show up and share it. So it's definitely, I mean, I'm willing to share in that with you guys and offer it this way.
And Reed, to give some clarity, I think how it's set up is loan officer and realtor would sign up together as a partnership, and each would pay $99 a month to have the platform up and running. That includes a customized website for each client that you bring on, each organization, business, city government, whatever, customized. And then we provide all the videos and the content that Dino will help walk us through all of that. And then once it's all up and running, then it's on us to do the quarterly, touch points, and then anything extracurricular that we want to do to keep up those relationships. So the partnership, I guess, would be, $198 per partnership. And then Dino, is it unlimited? However many businesses you sign up?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Sign up 1 or 100. You sign up 10 or 1,000 employees. Like, yeah, it's the same. The fee won't change.
Awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. Man. Cool. Thanks for staying on extra, everybody. Yeah. And I'll send this out to Andy, Rob, and Aaron. I'll send this deck out so they can forward it to you guys. My contact info is on there if you have questions. Otherwise, just go straight through the boys. They'll take care of it. But yeah, I'm excited to kind of continue the conversation. So thanks a lot, everybody.
Thank you, Dino.
Thank you, Dino.
All right. Bye now.
Awesome. Appreciate it. See you guys.